Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about the travel ban. So, we had a travel ban that first impacted 19 countries. Then we had an expansion to 35-ish countries. Now, today, there's an article from Fox News saying that this travel ban or immigrant visa ban is going to be expanded to 75 countries. Stephen, can you tell us what happened today?
Yeah, we get this Fox News story, and then a couple other news outlets pick up the story that there is a new travel ban for 75 countries. And really, Emily, I think what's unique, well, I guess not unique, it's how we're doing things now, is that all we really have to go off of is what appears to be a leak or information given to Fox News and three Department of State tweets that don't go into a ton of detail, but kind of confirm the reporting. And so I don't want to go through this whole list of countries, but just some ones that stick out to me. Brazil, I don't think was previously on a bar. We have Pakistan. We have what was the one we were talking about? Nepal is on there. That was not previously banned. I think Kuwait, which somebody mentioned online, that has an average income of over $60,000 a year for each citizen. Some of those are new. A lot of these are still the African nations, and then the security risk ones that we've had. India is not included, I think is worth mentioning. Russia's another one that I think is new. But India and China are not included, Emily.
All right. And so you said there's a Fox News article, three tweets from the State Department. Now, when we have a travel ban, it's done by presidential proclamation, executive order. Those have to be signed by the president. They're usually posted on whitehouse.gov. Has the actual executive order been published anywhere yet?
Not that I'm aware of. I just checked before we jumped on Department of State to see if they announced anything. They have not. I do not see anything from the White House. The only thing on there today is addressing the imports of processed critical minerals and certain things with the Long Island Railroad Company and its employees. So we don't have this. We don't even have, like I said, from Department of State, an announcement. So let's take a step back. Fox News puts out this thing. There's a visa freeze. Okay, what does that mean? Well, Department of State at least clarified, assuming they're accurate in their tweets, that they will pause immigrant visa processing from 75 countries, and they're predicating this on the public charge rule. So it's green cards, not everything. Because I was a little interested because of those countries, 15 of those are qualified for the World Cup, and I think a couple others might. And they're big on we're going to get B visas to these folks. So it's a green card ban issuance freeze. It's not a 212F proclamation yet. We might see that tonight. We might see it tomorrow. Who knows? I don't know their purported authority to pause visas, because we've seen in past 212F bans that, yes, they can ban entry, but not visa issuance. And if their concern, Emily, is public charge, which you already can't do, right? You can't become a public charge. Make that determination. Putting a freeze, I think, is more for headlines than anything.
Yeah. All right. And just to take a step further back, when we're talking about a so-called visa freeze, what exactly is a visa? Does that apply to things happening in the US with USCIS, adjustment of status,
Okay, she's
things
back
like
on.
that? Or are we literally just talking about green card applications for people who are outside the US?
So when we talk about the visa, it is the immigrant visa is, the
Uh-oh.
green card
Okay.
abroad, right? Or the visa in your passport.
I'm not sure if I'm still live and Steven's frozen or if Steven's live and I am frozen somewhere. So
I
I will
can
just
hear.
keep going here. But this freeze is only impacting immigrant visas, only talking about um, people who are outside the US. So it does not impact at this moment any applications that are filed with USCIS. So a couple questions for you, Stephen. So this applies to
Are you able
people
to
who are
hear me now?
outside the US. Yes, now I can hear you. People who had their visa interview. So does this apply to people who've already had their visa interview scheduled or who are documentarily qualified? Like, does it only apply to people who are just now starting the process at the consulate?
I think it would apply to both, right? I think if you have not been given that document, it could have shown up in SEAC as approved last night and you were planning to go this morning. I think this freeze, again, with what we have been seeing, applies immediately and they're not going to issue it. I imagine they're also going to maybe pause some of the steps in adjudication. Like, I don't think they're going to make you approved and then wait to issue it. I think they're going to hold off on all that. Now, I'm curious, if they're going to try to do something like they have with the 212F bans and hurt it on the USCIS side. I don't think they can, based on what we have right now. Because we don't even have a 212F proclamation, but I don't think if you're consular processing your green card and you're from one of those impacted countries, I just assume nothing's moving forward right now.
Yeah. And we also, because we don't have the actual proclamation, we don't know if it impacts every single immigrant visa. Like, is there an exception for immediate relatives, spouses and kids of US citizens, or any other exemption? Is there an exemption for refugees, asylees? We don't know if there are any exemptions at all at this point. It's possible, but it's also possible that it just stops every single person who would be coming into the US on an immigrant visa. Do we know how long the freeze is expected to last?
No, we have no details. I hate to again, as has been my narrative, we see a fire ready aim mentality with this administration, especially when it comes to immigration. And again, all we have is a Fox News article and 3 tweets from Department of State. I can tell you there have been other things that have been put on pause that the government doesn't even know how they're going about it. We have that with the 212F bans where USCIS has said we're not going to work on your case right now. The pause at adjudication. I have an email from a U.S. attorney yesterday that's like, we don't know what's going on. Our client is still waiting for guidance. I'm like, your client, the defendant, still wrote the dang memo. Like, what do you mean they're waiting for guidance? We sued Joseph Edlow. Like, he wrote it. So I think we can show, we know so much of this is we're going to put this out there so it gets on the news. It drives, the talking points of we're being tough on immigration as the administration. And then, tomorrow or Friday, maybe next week, we'll actually figure out what the hell this means. Excuse me, what the heck this means in terms of how we're going to go about this from an operational standpoint. Is this a 3-week freeze? Is it a month-long freeze? Is it 6 months? Is it indefinite? Is it 3 years? We don't know. And I think that's the thing that's frustrating when they do these freezes. If you're like, okay, we need to catch our breath and we need 2 months to execute our plan. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I get that. It's a date certain. They want to do something that they think is necessary. I get that. But these indefinite freezes are problematic.
Do you think this is something that could be challenged in court or maybe stopped by litigation or an injunction?
I don't know. Because I don't even know what they're couching this in, right? I do know 212F is their broadest level of authority, and there are plenty of cases from the first Trump administration that says you cannot pause visa issuance for a 212F ban. And that was really big in the diversity visa cases because there is, the diversity, unlike employment-based and family-based, where there's spillover and your case can continue, the diversity visa starts and ends in the fiscal year. And so if you get past September 30th without a visa being issued, you're done. You got to go through the lottery again. So there were people who had been selected and they said, we're not going to do it because you have a 212F ban. And the court said, no, you have to at least issue the visa. You can deny entry, but you can't pause the visa. And I think to the extent we actually get something that's real, then I could see it being challenged.
So does this policy affect extensions or change of status from people that are filed in the US?
Not right now, but we have to wait and see. Why? Because we have started to see USCIS has put out policies saying that countries that are subject to 212F proclamations, we're going to pause adjudication on your benefits. And then to the extent that we're going to continue, we might make a negative discretionary finding. So we have to see how, one, what their purported legal authority is, and two, how USCIS gets lockstep with this.
All right. Common question that we get every time there's a travel ban. Does this mean there's going to be spillover to the employment-based green card numbers next year?
Yeah, look, I think we will see some. There are some countries on here, Emily. You and I have gone through this before. When the New York Times, last spring put out this like red, orange, yellow list of countries that was a leaked, travel ban list. And we went back and ran the numbers for like 5 years of employment-based and family-based from those list of countries. And it was nominal over 5 years, how much they used. And so, yeah, it's like spillover, but I think it was like 10,000 over 5 years. We do have countries that are more likely to file. Nepal has a lot of Schedule A nurses. Brazil has a lot of employment-based. So we could see spill down, spill over. I think it's too early to tell to what extent. But I mean, I think there will be some level of spillover, but there is every year.
All right. Another question. Is this something that could happen to India in the future? They're not on the list now, but could they?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the president has broad discretion over 212F to deny entry, from groups or from nationalities. We saw this with the quote unquote Muslim ban in 2020. We've seen 212F bans this administration. This seems to be predicated on countries, at least according to the text or the tweets, that have high likelihood of public charge findings. And I think India is low on the, using government resources. That doesn't mean that can't change.
All right. Will this impact employment-based 485s already filed? No, it does not impact I-485 applications. This is just immigrant visa applications, meaning you're outside the US applying at the consulate. Can an American citizen sponsor their siblings who reside outside the US? Yes, you can sponsor them, but if this ban is in place, that means they won't actually be able to get the green card when one becomes available to them. But it's a very long wait in that category. So hopefully this ban would not be in place by the time if you're just now starting that process. I think that's, go ahead.
N400 real quick, because I'll just address that and we'll close it. This does not impact N400s, but there are some 212F proclamations where USCIS has said we are not going to take adjudication steps, and that includes the N400. So for some of those countries, Nigeria, Iran, a couple others, where they're not going to give any benefits, including an N400 adjudication. Other than that, Emily, I mean, I'm sure we'll probably do another video tomorrow when this gets published, or next week, who knows. But we wanted to bring it up because there's been a ton of questions. Who's on the list? What does it mean? Does it mean non-immigrant? Does it mean immigrant? Does it mean everybody? And I think we wanted to just kind of keep people informed.
All right. So yeah, we'll be back when we have more details on this, once there's an actual proclamation published or we have more information. But for now, we think it is an immigrant visa ban only applying to people outside the US who are applying for the green card from those listed countries. And we will update you when we have more information. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.